Hello, my name is Bob Pierce, and welcome to my studio. This, our second installment, is going to talk about getting your ducks lined up. The first one, we talked about a couple of the big roadblocks in getting a book written, primarily considering yourself a writer and thinking of yourself that way, making writing a priority in your life. First things you need to do are get your research done, or at least as much of it as you can. Obviously, things will come of mind as you go through the process of writing, but get as much done as you can in the beginning. You kind of know where this is going to go and what the arc of the story is going to be, so you want to make sure that you have whatever basic information you need handy as you get things started. Research your characters. So if you're doing a complete fiction, you're going to need to make up all these characters. So write a little bit about each one of them. I come up with the names of my characters, write them all down, and you saw my collection of Post-it notes in the last video. I put all my characters are on a Post-it note all around the perimeter of the monitor. Sometimes there are a lot of characters and it ends up looking like it did in the last video. So get all of that together and your outline, which we talked about in the last video as well, and then you're ready to get started. So to begin with, you want to start off by starting a folder on your hard drive. Name it the name of your book, First Draft, and then you're going to start off with each chapter as an individual file. You'll see chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, so on and so forth. Specifically 01, 02, 03. That way in the list they stay in order. If you just made a chapter 1, chapter 2, 1 would be listed down here by 10, 2 would be down here by 20. It makes things a whole lot simpler. If you're going to have more than 99 chapters, use 3 digits instead of just 2. Now you notice introduction is listed above chapter, which is not alphabetical. That's because there's a word space in front of it. Nothing comes before something. And at the end of the list, you'll see this file called Computer Pics. I wanted that at the bottom because it's really not related to the rest of it. So there is a Z in the front of that because computer would come before these other things here at the end, epilogue and major players. Those will be front of the book and back of the book respectively, so it doesn't really much matter. They're not part of the order. So first draft, write each chapter and save it to this folder. When you are done, then you want to back it up on a thumb drive. On each session, you want to back up whatever work you've done on a thumb drive. And on the thumb drive, you'll have folder after folder, chapter after chapter in each draft to keep everything in order. When it comes time to move on to the next draft, what you're going to do to keep things organized is you're going to copy chapter 1, put it in the new folder, which you have titled as the same book title, but draft number, whatever you're up to. Paste it, edit it, make your changes, and then back it up and save it. And then one by one as you go along, copy, paste, edit, save, in that order. Eventually you'll fill this other folder until you've got the entire book in there. Now you'll notice there's a couple of odds and ends in this last one here. What I do sometimes is I come up with bright ideas that I want to include in the book, but I'm not really too sure where. So I'll just go ahead and write them. Like down here, you've got Hickok's Toast, Hickok's Duel. Those are short little, well, maybe a page and a half of something that I want to include somewhere. So I just went and wrote them and saved them. And then later on, as I went through the various drafts, I found places for them to be fitted into. Also, the table of contents in this first draft, you don't see that because we're still working on things. Table of contents is on here, as well as the copy for the back cover promo on the back side of the book. On the back cover, there'll be some sort of a write-up about what the book's about, hopefully to entice somebody to buy it. But you'll also use that on Amazon when you get it listed there's a place for a description of the book. That promo copy will come in handy for that. So this all gets saved as we go along to the peripheral hard drive. We talked about that in the last video. Very important. Keep your work separate from the operating system and everything. God forbid your computer crashes at some point, you don't lose any of your work. In my world, nothing happens in this studio without music. In the first video, I gave you kind of a little tour of my corner here, and one of the things you didn't see because it was out of the camera range was my CD player. And one of the things is, when I write anyway, is a progression of musical styles from the beginning to the end. When I'm working on the first draft, I keep it kind of soft and easy. So some Enya and some Jimmy Buffett. They're typical choices for the first draft or two. Kick it up a little bit as we move into later drafts. Marvin Gaye and Chris Isaak, although he can be kind of depressing sometimes. Somebody once made a comment to me about how something was so sad it could make Chris Isaak cry. Yeah, but sometimes you're in the mood for that, depending on the book you're writing. Moving on to later drafts, some Stevie Ray and John Lee Hooker. And then when I get to the last drafts and the layout phase, well, now we're talking Bonamassa and Thorogood. And, well, sometimes you just need a little adrenaline to get through some of that last stuff. Whatever works for you, if you're a Beethoven person, or if you're a I need silence while I'm writing kind of person, whatever works for you. But that's how we roll here. We've got a 5-disc changer. We just load it up and hit go. So that's it for this second video. We'll be looking at other things in later videos. Research, inspiration, ideas, where do you get all of that from? Yeah, that's a lot of different things that go on in your life you probably don't even realize, and we'll look at some of those things. And just keep writing. That's the big takeaway. Write bloody, get that first draft done, and just keep going and don't stop. Moving along from draft to draft to draft, and working on developing those characters, developing conversations. A lot of story can be told in dialogue, and we'll talk about that in another video as well. So until next time, I'm Bob Pierce from the studio.